Well, it's a pleasure to be back in Halifax. As I was talking to Pat about, actually, we were together back in February as we were dealing with the impacts of our relationship with the U.S. And so it's good to be back here now in the context of a new portfolio, a portfolio that I've been craving to have for years, which is the industry portfolio, because I'm happy to be able also to work on the consequences of the US relationship and what's going on right now on the trade side. Donc, ça me fait plaisir d'être à Halifax, de vous voir tous ensemble. I'm happy to be here. I'm just coming out of cabinet. We had a very good and thorough conversation with the Prime Minister and the different ministers that are working on the Canada-US relations. Of course, I've said it many times, we won't negotiate in public, but the goal is to make sure that at the end of the day, we are protecting Canadian workers and we are making sure that Canada's interests and Canadians' interests are protected. So happy to be meeting with the Ocean Supercluster. I think that when you think of what's going on in the world, and particularly when it comes to our relationship with the US, what we know we can work on is what we can control. And that's why all of you are here, because we'll work on building a very strong economy. One economy, not 13 economies. And what we will do in that context is I hope we can build together. We just passed a very important infrastructure linked bill that is called Bill C5 for major infrastructure projects. I hope that we can increase the domestic market for all the different solutions that you're working on. I also want us to talk about defense and how we can work together on having a new defense industrial policy, creating jobs in the different companies that you're heading that sometimes are linked to dual use, civilian but also military. I'll be going to the Irving shipyard a bit later today, and I'll be talking, of course, about the national shipbuilding strategy, but also about how we can create jobs, because what I'm hearing is that companies want to have contracts rather than subsidies from the government. And obviously, this is the goal in the context of our investment in defense, creating jobs also at home, while, of course, we're supporting our brave men and women at the Canadian Armed Forces. Donc, ce sont les conversations que je vais avoir l'occasion d'avoir avec vous pour pouvoir parler des impacts, bien entendu, de la relation avec les États-Unis. And finally, we know that Halifax is such a gateway, of course, to the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada, the rest of the country, but also a very, very important connection, yes, to the US, but also to the other side of the ocean, which is Europe. And so I want us to be able to talk about diversifying our economy and, of course, how are you connecting with the different businesses on the other side of the ocean. Donc, that's what I want to be able to talk about. C'est l'objectif de notre rencontre. That's my goal with you today. And I'm super happy that we have great journalists, but now they will leave and we will be able to have real conversations.
First thing to say is the government has consistently stood up for Canadian workers and businesses throughout these negotiations. Will continue to do so. I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month, and we'll be working hard on that. At the same time, we need to recognize that the commercial landscape globally has changed. It's changed in a fundamental manner, and we will continue to focus on what we can most control, which is building a strong Canadian economy. And that's part of what we'll be discussing in Cabinet today. And a strong Canadian economy, to be absolutely clear, includes a strong steel industry. It includes a strong Canadian auto industry, a strong Canadian aluminum industry, copper industry, and others. And we'll be focused on what we can do to support that.